Hey, we got another one. Hey, Mickey. Mickey, I don't mean to alarm you, but do you know these people?
I'm on the airplane currently.
Nice, she's on an airplane. That's outstanding. Oh, this is great. That is outstanding. All right, you lovely humans, thanks for being here. Weather wasn't completely cooperative, but we're to make it work. We're going to talk about muscle testing. After we talk about muscle testing, we're going to demonstrate some muscle testing. Y'all have a copy of the handout. Let's jump into it. Let's talk about muscle testing. And we're going to cover it all, the good, the bad, and the downright ridiculous. And when I say let's talk about it, I mean it. Ask the questions, say the weird thing. Okay? You're sitting with your tribe right now, and you are safe. There's a major problem with muscle testing. This problem stops people from using it to their benefit. This problem stops people from using muscle testing accurately. This problem is easily fixed. I have very simple goals for the workshop today. I want to teach you the science of muscle testing and demonstrate it repeatedly. The more a person sees muscle testing, the more a person experiences it, the more a person can benefit from it and understand it. The major problem I mentioned with muscle testing, it's way too scientific. Was anybody expecting me to say that line? Nope, they usually aren't. Muscle testing, it's a verb. Eliciting a neuromuscular response through ischemic compression of dermatomes corresponding to various organs and body parts. We all understand now. Have a great day. No, sorry. All right, so that definition probably doesn't make a lot of sense. Only people with a medical background have a chance at understanding that definition. Let's look at some of those words to help make sense out of that. Before we go into more definitions, we're going to define muscle testing, and I just gave it to you in medical terms because my wife is a nurse practitioner. So when I go to functions with her coworkers and they ask me what I do, I had to have a way to explain it. Yeah?
How about an L at the end of medical?
No, it's Medica. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm talking about Medica. You can talk about medical. Oh, I'm with her. All right, but I want to explain it in plain terms. So first, let's get some definitions. Eliciting means gaining or given. So we're trying to gain something through muscle testing. Neuromuscular. It has to do with the way your nervous system, including your brain, controls your muscles. Ischemic compression. That one's a tricky one. It's pressure causing a reduction of blood flow or blood volume. When you were kids, or maybe last week, did you ever sit on your hands long enough to get them to go totally asleep just to shake them and feel how weird it was? You were using ischemic compression. Anytime you've laid funny at night and woke up with numb fingers or tingly arm, that was ischemic compression. And then a dermatome. It's a cross-section of the body. Kind of like if you look at this birthday cake, which is probably the most accurate representation of a birthday cake anyone has ever drawn. Joking. If you slice out, if you take a piece of that cake out, you can still see the cross sections. Does that make sense? You can see the cake, the frosting, the cake, the frosting. It's the same thing in a body. A dermatome is a cross section of any part of the body. Okay. That's also a perfectly anatomically correct drawing of a human, just so you know. All right, a better way to describe muscle testing is using the body's own reflexes to determine where there's stress in the body. That's all we're doing. Your body has reflexes all over it. We're just asking us to tell us where is the stress. That definition skips the medical terminology and states how a non-invasive tool can aid in gaining greater health and function. Before we go any further, I want to point something out. When we're talking about muscle testing, it is not a strength test. You do not have to be a power lifter for me to be able to muscle test you. Okay? It's safe, it's non-invasive. Show of hands every time I've had you take off clothing in the consult room with me. Exactly, none of you. This is non-invasive. Questions on the first page before we get flipping? Cool, then we'll keep going. This back half of it is probably my favorite part of this workshop. We're going to talk about the good, the bad, and the downright ridiculous. The good part of muscle testing. It is non-invasive. It is safe for people of all ages. I have muscle tested people literally days after they were out of the womb, all the way up to the oldest client I've ever worked with was 96 years old. I feel like that's a pretty good span. There are no side effects. So I love this part. Even things that in our modern world have become incredibly safe, like having a blood draw, which is this really common thing, and there are specialists for it. There's still some degree of risk with that. With muscle testing, there is zero risk. When muscle testing is done correctly, it's capable of getting information from the body that a machine cannot. So AI is more and more a thing in our modern world. Robotics are more and more a thing in our modern world. And muscle testing is something that is very much so a human interaction kind of thing. I'm not opposed to certain machinery helping us with our health. I think x-rays are a pretty cool thing, for example. But I want us to keep in mind that even an x-ray can't get the information that muscle testing gets for us. Just different info. That's all the good stuff. Here's the bad stuff with muscle testing. Muscle testing is often used to answer questions, much to my chagrin. Testing things of a non-physical nature moves muscle testing into the quantum realm of existence. So people in the past have asked me to do things like, should I take this supplement for 2 weeks or 3 weeks? And they want me to muscle test that. That's not a thing I can accurately muscle test. That's asking a question about the future. If muscle testing could answer questions about the future, I would have played the lotto by now. None of us would be here because I'd be in Fiji. I'd be on the Zoom call on a beach. All right, so what do I mean about that quantum stuff? Modern science is finding that what we deem reality does not actually exist like we think it does. Reality is a completely subjective term and varies based on the individual. According to quantum physics, nothing exists and we are all one. Confused? Me too. Okay? And that's why I test things that are in the room with me. So if you want me to test a supplement for you and the bag is empty and there's just powder left in the bag, that's physical substance in the room with us. That's enough for me. That's all we need. I always want the muscle testing to be a physical interaction. That's what I am after. Gail, you got a question coming to mind? No? Just checking. So that's the bad. And then the downright ridiculous. There was a television program in the 1980s that invited psychics, aura readers, and people with telekinetic abilities to demonstrate their abilities before a live studio audience. None of them successfully demonstrated their abilities. They had one guest who claimed they could determine the contents of an opaque bag by muscle testing. Tremendous! Except for the part where none of the guests ever demonstrated their abilities. I feel very badly for this woman who was trying to show muscle testing on national television. She was a very poor muscle tester. Okay? Which is why I put this quote at the bottom here. I said this about 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago. I am very critical of muscle testers. Too many give my peers and me a bad name. And with that said, I'm happy to teach anyone how to muscle test correctly. I want to demonstrate before I do. Questions coming to mind, concerns coming to mind.
Yeah. How does the dust? I don't understand what the dust does with the muscle testing. How you can use a physical, the physical supplement. Does your body feel it?
So is your question about the volume of matter?
No. How do you, when you put a supplement, how do you know if a supplement is good for you through muscle testing?
Love that question.
Does it?
Would you grab me a bottle of
anything?
anything?
Sometimes you pull out the bottle and hold it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I always hold it close because I want that physical interaction.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
That's what I want. Lori's gonna, SBR. Hit me with it. Is Spanish black radish good, Lori? Spanish black radish is always good. All right. This is a bottle of Spanish black radish. There's 90 tablets in here. Inside of this bottle, there is energy because the Spanish black radish in here has energy to it. It is an incredibly trace amount. I don't want anybody to think you can start your car with this amount of energy or power a flashlight with this amount of energy. It is minuscule amounts of energy, which is why, to your question, I hold it against people's bodies when I muscle test it. The analogy I use is the bottle of supplements is like a lighter or a lit match. If I had a lit match in my hand right now, would you feel the heat from it from across the room? No way, right? There's energy coming off of that because it's on fire, but not enough energy to affect you. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Just like when I'm testing supplements, I got a whole wall of supplements in every one of the consult rooms here, but they're up on the wall. They're 6, 8, 10 feet away from you. They're not close enough to influence you until we put it right against you. Like a lit match. If I got a lit match remotely close to your hand, you'd be like, hey, bub, what you doing with the match? Kind of getting hot over here. That makes sense?
Mm-hmm.
Answer your question?
Yeah.
Beautiful. Other, yeah.
You're talking about, like, holding things and muscle testing to see what it does with your body.
Yep.
Is that different from kind of when you're muscle testing or feeling for, like, diagnosis? Like when you're doing things and then you're like, oh, I see something's off with this organ and this organ. Like, is it the same, all the same muscle testing, but they seem a little different?
Yes. It's all the same technique.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm doing differently is when I'm going through your body looking for the areas of stress, I'm just using that ischemic compression, that reduction of blood flow.
Okay.
Versus once I find the area of stress, then I'm going back to the area with the nutrient and holding it against the body to elicit that response.
Okay.
Does this help? What's in here, does it help?
Right.
Yeah. That answer your question? Cool, good question. Yeah.
So when we put our arm up,
right,
that reduces the blood flow, I think you said.
Oh, so I'll demonstrate this in a minute. Not quite. When you put your arm up, that's just the muscle I'm going to use to measure. Okay? When I press on an area, that's the reduction in blood flow. That's why you got me with my hand over where your spleen is, because that dermatome, that cross section, if I press right there, I pick up your spleen. If I go south, I pick up your pancreas. That's the reduction in blood flow when I'm pressing on those areas.
Got it.
Yeah. Ladies, when I ask you to pledge allegiance, we're testing your heart. Why do I ask you to put your hand there? Because I'm not copping a feel on your chest, okay? That's fine. But we got to reduce that blood flow to that area with that pressure. Yeah. Cool. One of the great problems with muscle testing is that the body determines what gets worked on.
Mm-hmm.
So you can walk in here and say, Drew, I have a body ache right here. But with muscle testing, the body may communicate, I need you to work on something else. I need you to work on the liver or the brain or something.
Mm-hmm.
The body has to be ready to work on the problem before muscle testing will find the problem. So it's
muscle testing will what?
before muscle testing will find the problem,
Okay.
the body has to be at a place where it's ready to work on it.
So if I have a problem and my body doesn't think I have a problem, and you do muscle testing, you're not going to pick anything up. Or you're not going to pick it up.
If your body has a problem and it's not ready to work on it,
Right. I'm sorry. I
It's
stated
okay.
it inaccurately.
no, it's okay. If your body has a problem and it's not ready to work on it, it's highly unlikely muscle testing will find it. There's a couple of advanced techniques that I was taught that can help me, but still, if it's your body really needs to be ready to go for it, which is part of the reason I do hair analysis with people, so that you're getting mineralized. That makes it easier for a body to communicate its problems. And then muscle testing can pick up stuff left and right because the body says, hey, I actually have the fuel to do all these different things. Would you help me with? And then it gives me a list.
Yeah.
Did I answer your question?
Yeah.
Yeah? Cool. Yeah. Yeah.
I have a question. I'm just curious about your story, your background. How did you get involved
Sure.
with
Oh, that's a
muscle
good one.
testing? Who did you learn it from? Like, what drew you to it initially? Those sorts of things.
I appreciate you saying my name. Stupid joke. What drew you to it? Sorry.
I approve of such jokes.
Thank you. Yeah, fathers, right? Fully. In 2007, I had moved up here to be with my girlfriend, then fiance, now wife. And I needed to find a job. I had about 1.5 years of experience working in the field of nutrition. And I found a job in town that was not nutrition related, and I loathed it. And there was one particularly difficult day that I was driving home from work from that job. And I was like, I just want to do something to feel a little bit better. Like I need to pick me up. And it was funny. I was driving down North Avenue and Ray's Liquor was right there.
Oh, jeez.
And I looked at that and I was like,
Keep driving.
and then I kept driving for just a second. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw a neon sign that said vitamins, etc. And I was like, you know what? I didn't even know there was a nutrition store right here. I'm going to go in. I'm going to buy myself some funky supplement. I was really into bodybuilding back then. I'll buy some muscle builder. And I'll pick myself up with that instead of going to race. And I walked in and the store was pretty pitiful.
Oh.
Okay. I walked right to the sports nutrition section. And my first thought was, they need me here. So I walked up to the front desk and a lady named Stephanie was working there. And I said, are you hiring? I'd like to apply. And she picked up a piece of paper and she said, we were running this hiring ad in the paper tomorrow. I said, great, I'd like to apply tonight. I had to hound the owner of that nutrition store. I called him every 2 days for 10 days before he called me back for an interview. December 23rd, 2007, I went in for an interview and I was shown muscle testing in that job interview. And it blew my mind because this guy who was standing before me, who was 3 inches shorter than me and 50 pounds lighter than me, was pressing on my arm and getting it to go down with almost no effort. And at that point in time, I could take 50-pound dumbbells in each hand and do lateral raises with them. So I'm watching this guy who's smaller than me barely work to move my arm. And I'm like, what is this? And how do I learn it? He taught me what he knew about muscle testing. Pretty quickly, it became clear that there was more to learn. And I really wanted to learn more. I really wanted to get into the science part of it. Went to a place called ULAN Nutritional Systems. That's down in Florida. When you guys hear me talk about the school in Tampa that I went to for 2 years, that's the one I'm talking about. They had a really intensive program where you got to learn about muscle testing, practice muscle testing on a bunch of different people. The teachers were all people who muscle tested professionally, so they had reps and reps and years of experience. I was the 410th graduate from that school. I was their youngest graduate at that point in time. And at the graduation, 2 of the guys who ran the school came up to me and said, when are you going to start teaching for us? I was like, yes! Oh, that's what I wanted. Because I loved it. I was totally into it. I was muscle testing people in clinic by then. That was 2013. I taught for them for a few years. Continued to muscle test professionally since then. I officially started muscle testing in 2009. That's when I started seeing clients. I was really trained by 2013. And then around 2017, I really feel like I hit a stride in terms of I had refined things to what I saw most consistently in this part of the country. And I continue to teach muscle testing to this day. And I continue to use it with my clients.
Nice.
That's the history.
What was the name of that school you mentioned?
ULAN Nutritional Systems. UNS. UNSinc.info for everybody watching it after the fact or want to check it out. The guy who started is named Dr. Freddie ULAN. That's why it's ULAN Nutritional. And Freddie and I were both born on May 15th. Yeah. So right away I was like, that's a good guy. Cool. Other questions coming up? Yeah.
I don't know if I know how to word it, but so like when you're medical versus more holistic and like the muscle testing, and like diagnosis, like that's where I get confused. Like,
yeah.
And you kind of alluded to it when you say that you muscle test and your body will kind of tell you what's going on. So I don't quite know how to word it.
Yeah. But
I'm curious. I guess like can you diagnose medical illness through muscle testing, or is it just giving you maybe what the body needs? Is there different?
Yeah, they're definitely different.
Okay.
I don't treat anything. I don't diagnose anything. I don't cure anything.
Yeah.
I nourish bodies so bodies can cure things.
Okay.
Yeah, I want your body to cure the stuff.
Yeah.
We have the mechanisms and the machinery inside of us. Usually they just aren't performing correctly. So I'm just constantly trying to improve performance in the body. And then your body will cure the issue.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
I don't cure anything.
Yeah. Right.
Never have, never will.
Optimizing.
Sorry, take that back.
performance.
I cure my own stuff, right? This body cures itself of, Okay.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, the diagnosis stuff I don't ever touch. It's not something I'm licensed to do, so it's not something I like to do.
Right.
What I'm trying to do, I have a story about my sister that I like to share with people that explains what I'm trying to do. Years and years ago, long time ago, 20, 25 years ago, got a phone call from my sister when cell phones were brand new. So it was the 2-color screen, as I remember, the green background with the black number. You know what I'm talking about. Phone rings, it's my sister. Hey, what's up? And she goes, I'm okay. I got a flat tire. I have a spare. I'm calling you so you know that happened. I'll call you when I'm up on the road. I'm like, good, stay safe. If anything comes up, speaker phone me. So we're good. She fixes it. She goes to work. She's fine. Week goes by. I get a phone call from her, same time of day. Hey, Drew, I got another flat tire. And I'm like, well, that's weird. That was like 8 days ago. Okay. You're okay? Yeah, I'm totally fine. I'm changing it. I'll call you when I'm on the road again. I'm like, okay, cool. Okay. Happens a third time a week or two later. Same time of day. I'm like, hey, what road are you on?
Yeah.
And why are you still driving on it? Okay. So what she did was, at that flat tire, she got out of the car and she walked up and down the road. And what she found were hunks of black plastic that was sharp. They were about that big. She was like, what is this? And then she looked to the left and there was a driveway to a very large farm operation. So what we deduced from all that is some container that was made out of very rigid plastic had fallen off of a truck when they had turned into the farm and broken. And the plastic was hard enough and sharp enough to pierce tires. Okay? I'm not interested in selling people spare tires. I want them to know what's on the road in front of them so they don't get the spare tire, the flat tire in the first place.
Right.
That's what I'm after. So I'm not trying to say like, oh, you have a flat tire. What I'm looking for is, hey, what's your roadmap? Let's make sure there's no debris on the roadway you're taking. That makes sense? Because she needed 3 spares, right?
Something.
And she was just trying to go to work. She wasn't misbehaving, right?
Exactly.
That makes sense?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Other questions bubbling up?
I'm curious about the body has to be ready
Yeah.
to tell you what it needs
Yeah.
fixed. So the body for like outside, I don't know, emotional, whatever, experiences, whatever, in the body can the body can say, I want a block being fixed or something like that. That's kind of weird. I mean, not weird, but
Yeah.
it makes me think about what is,
Yeah. Like what's going on with that,
Yeah.
right? So there's 2 parts to that. What you're describing is the idea that an emotion could interfere with physical health. Am I hearing you right?
Sure,
Cool.
emotion or whatever.
Yeah. And then separate from that is what I see more commonly is that the body is missing some nutrients to accomplish a task. The analogy I would use is gas in the tank of your car. You can have the nicest car on earth, but if you don't put gas in the tank, it doesn't work right. Often a body is not trying to misbehave. It's not trying to be problematic. There's just no gas in the specific tank. That's what I mean. Does that part make sense?
Yeah.
And then separate from that, the idea that emotions can affect us physically, absolutely. Has anybody ever been so mad that they were shaking? I have been. Has anybody ever cried so hard they couldn't breathe? I have, right? That was all emotionally brought on to me. Nobody had hit me. I didn't get hurt physically. But those times, like that time I was angry and I shook with rage, that was an emotion causing a physical outcome. And I can see that affecting our health. To answer your question?
And that also affects muscle testing.
Well, no, that'll affect
Blocking
whether or not blocking the info. Because your brain may believe a message that says this problem is infixable or unfixable. This problem cannot be fixed. If your brain believes that message, it's not going to ask me for help with the problem because it believes the problem does not have a solution. Does that make sense?
Interesting.
Yeah, that doesn't come up a lot, but it does come up.
Can you tell if that's what's going on?
Often, I can tell if that's what's going on. But then it depends on the client's willingness to participate in emotional discovery with me. That's the part where clients in the past have been like, "Are you sure you're not just a counselor?" Because your emotional issues do not cause discomfort in me. I'm very neutral to all that. That's your problem. Godspeed, literally. And I'm interested in helping, but I'm not taking it on for you. I've had clients try to do that stuff, and right away, fortunately, my dad was a counselor, so he taught me, it's like, when they start making it about you and you only spend 15 minutes with them once a month, you're not the cause of their problems, right? Did that answer it?
Yeah, it's something to think about. Yeah.
Emotions are potent.
Yeah. So how do you tell if a client is resisting or anticipating if they're going to push up or down?
Yeah, there's a bunch of steps to look for. Like, hey, is this person allowing me to muscle test them correctly? So the first thing to know is I'm always observing what's going on with you. When I start demonstrating, I'm going to show you the first 3 things I always do in every consult when I muscle test is establish a baseline. And that baseline allows me to know if the person is participating the way I need them to. And if they aren't, then it's my job to, hey, do this instead or change that for me. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Always watching for that because it'll come up. The easiest thing is if you're muscle testing somebody's arm and you start to notice that, sometimes you'll watch. All of a sudden, they're real veiny. You're like, dude, this is not a strength test. Sometimes, especially with, Zoomy people, we're going to run out of time in 5 minutes. So sorry about that. So if you have a question, holler it in just a minute. The other thing I'll see people doing, especially young men, when I say match my pressure, the first thing they do is they think we're arm wrestling, and their whole posture changes. I have them like this, straight arm, hand open, palm to the floor, and they immediately go like that. And I'm like, no, we're not arm wrestling. It's a light pressure. Yeah. So I'm constantly watching for that. Yeah. At UNS, at that school, they absolutely reminded us constantly, you have to watch the person, make sure they are participating correctly, stay on them. They're not trying to be problematic. They're distracted, they're confused, they're coming to you because they're not in good health. Give them some grace, kind of thing, right? Watch them. All right, so I want to demonstrate now. Who wants to be the guinea pig?
I'll do it.
Nice.
Who has never been muscle tested.
Yeah.
He's new to it.
Let's do it.
Love that. Cool. Come on up, lay on down, head at either end.
We'll go this way.
Awesome.
Yeah. I might.
Cool. The whole internet can see the bottom of your shoes now.
Hey guys.
Okay.
Oh, they're clean, right?
Yeah, they look pretty good. At least on camera, they look pretty good. Yeah, we're good.
We do have a dog.
So we're gonna do some muscle testing. Sean's never been muscle tested before. Your name is Sean, right?
It is.
Good. Okay, good. Just making sure. Sean's the husband of Kelly, one of my clients for years and years. I want to go over just the very basics. I know a lot of you probably have questions about the advanced stuff that you see me do. We are going to keep it pretty simple today. Based on the feedback I get from people in this workshop, we may do a more advanced presentation about muscle testing in the future. Okay? But for now, give me a nice straight arm. Perfect. What I'm going to do is put pressure against your arm, pushing that way.
Okay.
And I just want you to match that pressure back.
Not arm wrestle.
Thank you. Not arm wrestle. So match my pressure. Cool. That looks like a lot of nothing, doesn't it? Okay. What did you experience there?
Exactly what you described. You push really light, so it didn't take much to match.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the most basic thing of good muscle testing, in my opinion, is that it's a very light pressure. It's never like arm wrestling. It's just a very light pressure. Now in consult, what you all see me do is put my hand over your belly button, and then I do the thing with your hand where your pinkies and your thumbs have to touch. Okay. When I go through those, not all of them should have this response. So match my pressure again. I'm putting pressure on Sean's arm, and his arm is stable. Not every test I do should have that outcome. So that's one of the first problems with muscle testing. People think yes is a locked arm, and no is when it does that. That is not true. Okay? I'm glad you're here today. If that's all you learned today, success. So I'm going to find his belly button. I'm going to put my hand over it. Match my pressure again. What's happening this time?
It feels like you're pushing harder.
Absolutely. Okay.
You were?
I wasn't.
You were? Okay.
But it absolutely feels like I'm pushing harder. because I intentionally interfered with the stability of his nervous system. So match my pressure again. Nice stable arm. Okay? Match. See how his arm changes right away? That quick little change. Your belly button, your mouth, your rectum, your ears, your eyes have a lot of nerve endings. So do the palm of your hand. Have you ever taken, rest your arm for a second. Have you ever taken magnets and put them towards each other and they won't connect because it's the wrong sides? That's what happens when you take my nervous system and I put it right over an opening, a bunch of nerve endings for your nervous system. The body doesn't keep the arm up because it's totally dysregulated, it's confused by it. It trips it right up. That's one of the first things I do to make sure somebody isn't muscling me in a muscle test. Because if I go here and I'm like, as hard as I can, and his arm doesn't move, I'm like, hey, buff guy, chill out. Does that make sense? For the record, the most tough muscle testing I've ever done in my life was an 88-year-old woman named Lydia. I don't know what, to this day, I'm like, I wouldn't have gotten in a fight with that woman. I think she's made of iron or something. I'm not sure. So far, so good. To demonstrate it more dramatically, I'm going to put a lot of pressure on you this time.
All right.
Okay. Widen my stance. Match my pressure. Did that feel like more pressure?
Yeah.
Okay. Match my pressure. See how quickly his arm moves then?
Yeah.
That's that difference. Now I use the light pressure because I don't want to burn out this guy's shoulder, right? Or anybody's shoulder for that matter. But that's one of the first things I do to make sure that we have good muscle testing happening. Okay? And straight arm here. I want you to put on this hand your pinky and your thumb touching. When you put the nerve endings and fingers to each other, it kind of changes the wiring in your nervous system. And when we muscle test, we get different information from the body when we do this. Have you ever seen posters of people meditating and their hand is like this and they're chanting Om? It's the same thing as that, just a variation. So keep that together. Match. Nice stable arm, just like we want. Open that up. And then left hand, pinky and thumb. Good. And match. Perfect. Nice stable arm. Cool. Rest your arm again. I do it on both sides because I'm asking both halves of your nervous system. Is everything good here? So those first four things, just testing the arm, hand over the belly button, pinky and thumb on each hand. I always start the muscle testing portion of any visit with a client with those. Because now I have a baseline. Now I could talk to Sean's body about pretty much anything because I know whatever it tells me is valid info. Does that make sense? Cool. Questions coming to mind?
What is it telling you?
What is
it telling you that he's good? I mean, does
Yeah.
okay.
So let's
Sorry, I didn't.
let's qualify it with some terms. What I know now about his body is his nervous system responds to my inputs correctly. That's what that means in like a scientific way. His nervous system.
It did what it was supposed to be doing.
What it should be doing. For example, if I know two magnets should not stick together and then they stuck together, I'd be like, something's up with these magnets, right? So here I know the magnets are doing what they're supposed to do. Yeah. Other
Ever
questions?
experience it being off just in that baseline?
All the time. And then we got to fix that first. If their baseline isn't good, you got to fix the baseline. That's why you check your tire pressure before a road trip. The tire pressure isn't good, you got to put some air in those tires. Don't drive first. Yeah, it's that. That's another big problem with muscle testing. It's part of the reason, like I said, I'm very critical of muscle testers. Most muscle testing that I witness does not involve starting with a baseline. And then I'm like, you have no point of comparison, right? How's it going in the gym? You lost any weight? You got any stronger? Oh, I've never written down a single statistic about my exercise, not my starting weight, not what I lift, that would be a terrible idea. Am I progressing or not? With muscle testing this way, we start with something, we go, oh, good. I'll compare everything to that. Good. Good question. Other questions coming up.
So how, if you find the baseline off or whatever,
Mhm.
how do you fix it first?
That-
before you continue?
I love that question. How do I fix it if the baseline is off? That's some of that advanced stuff that I would get into at a different time.
Okay.
just because I have somewhere to be tomorrow. Because I know I'll dork out about it. I'll go real hard. We're gonna do the whole thing. Ready to learn all of muscle testing? Yeah.
So how do you know where the stress is in your body by doing that?
That's the next thing that I want to show. So give me a nice straight arm again. What I can do while asking him to match my pressure is do that ischemic compression thing where I press on different areas of his body and reduce the blood flow. If there's already stress in an area of the body, and then I reduce blood flow to it, the body's going to go like, what are you doing? Never mind the arm, and the arm comes down. The spleen was already mad, and now he's cutting off blood flow to it. If I'm having an asthma attack and you put your hands around my neck, I don't care if my shoe is tied. I'm like, get your hands off my neck. I already can't breathe. That's what the body is doing. That makes sense? Keep people's hands off your necks, okay? So I start at the top, match my pressure. Just put a little bit of pressure on these different areas. Every time I'm moving my hand, Sean is matching my pressure. You notice something about his arm? It's not traveling upwards towards Lori because he's not muscling me. I keep taking pressure on and off, and he's not trying to fight back. That's why his arm is staying right there. You're doing great. Yeah, thank you. Right there. That arm changes that little bit. Just that little bit. That's all I was feeling for. So I would circle back to that area. What I'm doing on Sean's body is putting my hands on the approximate areas where various organs would be. Pancreas, intestines. When I go to his back, it's for kidneys and adrenals. And it is an approximation. I have no way of guaranteeing you that I'm exactly on an adrenal. Fortunately, because we're talking about dermatomes, if we think about it like the cake, if I stick my fork in a cake part, I'm close enough. If I was in frosting, that would be different. But as long as I'm in cake, as long as I'm close enough, I'll get information about that area of the body. Okay? So the only thing I found off on him was the thymus gland right in the center of his chest. Right there. Would you please grab me an imuplex, a thymus, and an antronix? Rest your arm for a second. I'm going to grab some of my favorite things for the thymus gland and just see if they change his arm. That's the part about the match across the room doesn't help you, but if you get it right up against the body, then we can see a change.
I have a question.
Yeah.
And if you can't answer it, that's okay.
Okay.
Are you able to determine the same things with an animal that you can't touch in the same way as you touch a human? Because I know that you've worked on dogs.
Cats and dogs, horses.
Cats, horses.
Yeah.
Horses.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Yeah. It's a little different of a thing, that it's less physical.
Right.
So I work with it whenever it comes up, because it does come up. Some animals just aren't. Some animals I'm hired to help. They are dangerous. I'm thinking of a couple of horses I've worked with. It's no cat or dog I've ever worked with. But they were dangerous to get in the stall with, so I couldn't do the ischemic compression. And that's when we get into some of that quantum stuff that I don't love doing.
Right.
So usually in those circumstances, I start with the safest, most basic nourishment. With the horse, one of the horses, it was just all the calming nutrients. Right. And within a few months, the horse would let me in the stall with it in a safe manner. And then my work really began.
Okay.
Yeah.
You did say thymus and not thymus.
Correct. Thanks. Have you hold those. So I'm going to take this one, I'll hold it right against him, and match. Arm didn't move. So take that away. Through the glass? Because there's still enough energy. If you have hot liquid inside of a glass that you're holding, like a glass for drinking, you still feel the heat. Yeah, the glass is warm. So I took it away now.
It has to be glass, not plastic.
I don't like plastic in general, so I
Yeah.
try to eliminate
I
it.
agree.
The caps of the bottles are plastic.
Yeah.
Match. So I'm just putting a little pressure on his thymus and his arm is moving. And as soon as I introduce imuplex, which has a lot of thymus support in it, match. His arm is stable. I haven't cured him of anything. I haven't diagnosed him with anything. I've treated nothing. I've determined an area of his body that wanted support and a support for it. That's all I've done. That makes sense? Cool. Before I release this guy, because he's been great, other questions come. I did, because I didn't know which one would help him. So I wanted to have backup plans. Yeah. Really good question. Whenever I'm testing somebody, whatever area comes up, if it's your spleen, I'm thinking spleen PMG, desiccated spleen, Spanish black radish, Anthrax, echinacea, burdock complex. I'm thinking all of those right away. But then the person's body says, I want this one, these two, these three. The body narrows it down for me.
So you can test it.
Nope, because his thymus was like, oh, dude, Immuplex? Yeah, I'm good.
And if you did keep tested, like, is it kind of, there could be multiple routes to the same stability or
Yeah.
the same.
So let's see. It's that different. This is thymus PMG instead of Immuplex. Match. That helps too.
Yeah, so it could be either.
Thymus PMG is one of the ingredients in Immuplex. I just want those away from them. Match. That didn't do it. That didn't do it. Give me back either of those because they both tested well. Match. That's stable again. So Anthrax wouldn't have been a part of his case. I think doing thymus PMG with Immuplex is redundant because there is thymus PMG in Immuplex. Good questions. Yeah.
Just because of my medical background.
Totally.
Ping-ponging between the two.
Yeah.
But so if you do find it, so in the way that you phrase things, a certain organ or part of the body needs support.
Right.
Then what would you do, just as a practitioner and stuff, like, would you find a need to refer out at some point, or like, how do they work together? Do you like them to work together?
Yeah,
the two sides.
I do, because muscle testing is limited. So when do I refer out? I get a ton of info from the body via muscle testing and from the communication with the person. And I have their hair analysis too. So I already know a lot, it's a relative term, about them. There's still absolutely times when I'm like, thank goodness they see that massage therapist, PT, chiro, acupuncture, because they need something that I ain't got. It's that kind of moment. We have a psychologist on staff. One of the reasons we have a psychologist on staff is because sometimes people come in and the emotional stuff has hit us at such a level that it's influencing us physically. And it's lovely to have Dr. Mark here so I can be like, hey, it sounds like a really intense thing. That is way out of my depth. I do have a guy. He's fortunately right across the lobby. Just walk through the classroom and there he is. Yeah, that makes sense? Good question. All right, sir, give me a hand here. Come on up.
Oh,
Thank you. Everybody, Sean, everybody. All right, who else wants to be muscle tested? I need one more demo. Help me out, folks.
Go ahead, Sue.
Beautiful. Hop on up. Head at either end. Hey, Sue. All right, so give me a nice straight arm here. And I'm going to put pressure against your arm. And I just want you to match that pressure back.
Okay.
So match. Perfect. Step 1. Step 2. Find her belly button. She's long of waist. Match. Good. Her arm's moving. It ought to. This hand, I want your pinky touching your thumb. And match. Nice and stable. Good. Open that. And then left hand, pinky and thumb. Match. Perfect. Nice and stable. I have a 0 point now, right? A baseline to compare. So let's check in with the rest of you, Sue. Right there. See that? Just that little change. That's all I'm feeling for. Any sinus trouble lately, Sue?
Yeah, I'm getting a little cold.
Okay. I think we should get rid of that. Lori, while I'm thinking of it, would you please grab, Anthrax is already here. Would you grab Allerplex, Fengray, what else? Yeah, Allerplex and Fengray.
Do you ever test anybody where there's no inadequacy?
Yes, once. Conducted, I don't know how many thousands of consults, and once I saw it.
I didn't hear the question.
Oh, the question.
I asked him if he ever has situations where there's no, for lack of a better term, imbalance or inadequacy.
Yeah. And one time I found a person who tested perfectly. So the only spot I found on Sue right now, the only spot her body says I'm ready to work on was the sinuses. So I'm going to take some supplements, put them right against her body, go back here, match. Cool. That's a good change. Let's try some different ones. Match. Nope, that didn't do it. Match. That one would do it also. So again, I had 3 ideas that came to mind. 2 of them would work in this situation. Rest your arm again. The first supplement I checked is called Antranex, and it's one of the ingredients in Allerplex. So there's a lot of overlap with this stuff. Just so being fully transparent. Because the thymus PMG was in the Imuplex, the Antranex is in the Allerplex. It's all. There's a lot of overlap in what I'm doing between products. Yeah. I hear wheels turning. Somebody has a question.
Surprised my
Coming
neck
together.
wouldn't have, you know,
Your neck wouldn't have.
because I don't have a thyroid because of what I had. I was surprised that triggered.
Totally. And what's the answer for that? Because the body's not ready to work on that yet.
Oh, well, I've had it, it's been quite a long time, but,
Yeah.
I just think it would be overworking.
Yeah. And before it says, hey, I've been overworked and I need to change that, it needs to see the nutrients it needs to change that. It needs that first.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So, comparing this to a more, for lack of a better term, traditional means of healing,
Yeah.
as it were, what advantages does this offer over those methods?
The biggest advantage is that it is different. Okay? Because I'm not going to blaspheme any other method.
Right.
I just want to point out that this gives us different info than blood work, different info than an X-ray, different info than an MRI. So I would like us to consider muscle testing not as the authoritative ultimate tool, but rather one of the tools that should be in the toolbox alongside physical examination, blood work, X-ray, MRI.
But you just made an important point. You said that this is going to identify things. It's going to see things or perceive things that a blood work or an MRI, more traditional means of diagnostics, is not going to show.
Right.
Okay.
An MRI won't show us vitamin C deficiency.
Right.
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 An X-ray may show us a calcification of an area of the body,
Right.
but it won't show us what nutrients need to be applied to support the body in correcting that.
See, that's important.
Okay, that's the
kind of the direction I was.
okay, because the X-ray is still valid. I still want the X-ray to see the calcification.
I wasn't. I was just trying to say, well, where does this fit in?
Totally.
In the continuum of care. So
and I appreciate you using the word, where does this fit in? Because I want it to fit in. I just want it to be part of what they do.
Right.
Right.
You don't necessarily look. You're not. Excuse me.
Oh, no.
You're not necessarily looking to do this as replace the other things,
Right.
but to augment what has already been done to provide more information. Right.
Absolutely. I want more info for the person so they can support their health better.
Right.
I have met muscle testers who say this is the end all be all and you don't need anything else. I think they are dangerous people.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And
Thank you for that answer.
you're very welcome. I was in Michigan giving a presentation 5 months ago, and a person came up to me and said that to me. He said that muscle testing tells us enough. You don't need any other form of assessment. And I said, that is a fool's errand. And he didn't like it.
Yeah.
I said, you can disagree with me, man, but if that's your mindset, I'm never going to refer somebody to you. I'm not going to direct people to your website or your Instagram. Yeah. Kelly.
I think even in an answer to that, just in my experience in the last few years, that it just really helps to get to the root of the problem and help your body heal. Where like I came to him for arthritis in my knees, that's the big story, and I couldn't barely walk, and he muscle tested me, and all of a sudden, and he treated my liver for my knees. And so, but like when I was on arthritis medication for my knees, it felt better. But when I went off the medication, I couldn't walk again. And so it's like, I think the Western medicine is quick to fix it quick to help you feel better. But I think going this route, it doesn't heal it. I wanted like some healing, like why is this even happening? I'm 36 years old. Why do I have arthritis in my knees?
Yeah.
So I think it helps to get to the root and like kind of help your body heal it and function better than
Yeah.
just fixing isolated problems, and then you end up on all these different medications for
Right.
each and every individual little problem.
Yeah.
So
But
just following up on what she's saying,
Yeah.
and again, I'm trying not to be judgmental of other more traditional methods, is that seems to be more focused on symptom relief
Sure.
as opposed to going to a deeper foundational level. That's it.
And then to follow up on that, the doctors that do seek out that more foundational level are booked out 8 months to 2 years in advance because they're doing excellent work. Because they are in pursuit of cause, which is powerful,
Which
right?
has more long-term benefits.
They
for
might
the
give you
patient.
meloxicam out of the gate for your knee inflammation. They might give you a steroid out of the gate for your knee inflammation. And then they say, here's the additional labs I want you to run, and we have a massage therapist down the hall I want you to see. They're going to feel around your thighs and your calves, see if something's real pulling that knee joint in a funny way, causing the pain. Those docs are booked out way in advance because they are going for causal issues.
Right.
Yeah. I wrote down why knees so I would remember it. Why didn't you have arthritis everywhere in your body if you had it in your knees?
Right.
Right? Shouldn't it have been systemic? Like every joint along your entire spine, your shoulders, your fingers, your neck, the bones in your face, like all of it.
Mm-hmm.
Why just your knees?
Right.
And that's one of the things muscle testing helps us get to. Yeah. For example, blood work is great. And it is a measure of your entire body. If you have questions about a specific body part, you don't just draw blood from the knee to learn about the knee. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Blood work is for other stuff. So why knees? That's what we had to figure out.
Yes. But he put me on
Beta
for
call.
liver, and I read the description, and I was like, that's exactly how it feels.
Yeah.
It was just really interesting. And now I squat 185 pounds.
Woo! Love that.
So I came to him just like, I can't do what I want to do. Like, I want to just do what I want to do, you know? And we've been working towards that stuff.
One of the first conversations was about being able to do lunges.
Yes.
I still remember the day you came into a consult, you were like, hey.
Yeah.
I was like,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Other questions bubbling up?
I brought up something not too long ago involving yogurt and learned something. This demonstrated to me, again, the power of muscle testing, where a label might look really good, you know, like for instance with the yogurt, we want 100% grass-fed and organic, and this one was from A2 cows even,
which is really good.
But I tested poorly on 2 different brands. Why? Because it was low fat or no fat, and that was what my nervous system didn't want. It wanted the full fat based on my oxidation rate, and also just because the level of fat where it's depleted from a product is also not very, when it's, I don't know what you would call that, but it's not good, and the body knew it.
So I'll give you an example of what Lori is describing here. It's like the body has preferences, and when you are asking the body about things like food, like let's say yogurt, the body will say, I need it to be A2, which is a more easily digested dairy source. Okay? I need it to be A2. Well, check that box. It needs to be grass-fed, because cows eat grass. That's what they're designed to do. That's why they have 4 stomachs. Hey, it's grass-fed. Checks that box. It needs to be organic, because I want to know the cows were eating grass that wasn't covered in chemical. Well, it is. And then we get to this point where we have no fat, low fat, regular fat. And muscle testing allows us to individualize things. We can ask the body. You got options in this category. It branches off into 3 little things: no fat, low fat, full fat. What will help you the most? Muscle testing will tell us that.
So I have a question to what you're saying. If I brought in a container of yogurt that I consume, would you be able to learn anything from that?
Absolutely.
Interesting.
Just like you could bring in a chicken thigh or a turkey breast or a piece of salmon or a head of broccoli. And we can ask your body, you like broccoli? It sounds really silly, and those answers often...
It doesn't sound silly.
Okay.
It doesn't.
And those answers change because we're talking to the body and the gut and saying like, hey, what can you work with right now? And as you get nourished up, the gut will change and it'll say, hey, I can actually diversify. I can work with those peppers I couldn't before, or those beans I couldn't before. That makes sense?
Oh yeah,
Okay, cool.
absolutely.
I think you're bringing a grocery bag to me at your next council, aren't you?
Food in next time to be tested.
Yeah, it's
Well,
fun.
I know that the yogurt that my grandmother and my mother made has got to be very different than even what you're talking about is available from some store that's fantastic because things were different 50 years ago.
Things are different 40 years ago or even 30 years ago.
Yeah. So, well, I'm just
Totally.
going back to that point.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's very interesting, Drew.
It's part of the reason I'm employed. It's like our dark sense of humor around here. When we hear about the sulfuric acid dump that happened in Houston a few weeks ago, 1 million gallons of sulfuric acid got dumped into the Gulf of Mexico, right outside of Houston. Or when that train crashed in East Palestine, Ohio, and the vinyl chloride cloud went up into the air, and then they were measuring it in streams and rivers and lakes hundreds of miles away within weeks. It's really good job security for us, because that's the kind of stuff we work on. There's no blood work for vinyl chloride. There's no imaging for sulfuric acid exposure if it hasn't touched your skin and burned you. But with muscle testing, your lungs may come up and say like, hey, something there is really bothering me. I need support to do my job better. And we can jump all over that. I can help your lungs left and right. Got all sorts of things for lungs. That makes sense? Yeah? Cool. Did I answer your question?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, good. Good. So yeah, muscle testing really lets us customize or individualize things.
How often should you muscle test then? Like, I got muscle tested for something a few weeks ago. Should I come back in and get muscle tested for the same thing, or do you see
Love
that in
that.
a different?
It's a totally great
In
question.
the different conversation that we have.
Yeah. What I see consistently is that it's the lifespan of the red blood cell. So red blood cells exist inside of our body. They are programmed or designed to die when they're 90 to 120 days old. They're supposed to. It's not a bad thing. They get replaced. Okay? They're supposed to die in 3 or 4 months. Okay? Red blood cells have a memory. So if we draw like a little graph here, and this is time going by, that's day 120, that's day 0. Here's you being upset. Here's you being happy. Okay? You start to nutritionally address an issue in your body at day 0. And the red blood cells that are born on that day are born into an environment where there was greater nutrition. Does that part make sense so far? Okay. But there's still 119 days worth of other red blood cells that don't know the nourishment because they were born in a state without the nourishment. So your body changes a little bit as more new red blood cells are born in that state of nourishment, and more of the old blood cells who were not nourished upon creation are dying off. Still makes sense? Body slowly shifts that ratio from old red blood cells to new red blood cells until we get to about day 120, and then all of a sudden, boom. Because all the old ones that said, we can't digest this, we can't use this, we have a thyroid issue, are gone. And all the blood cells that are floating around are just going like, hey, we got a problem, but good news, we've been working on it, things are getting better around here. You have to get to that point. So usually, if somebody's like, I really want to eat Granny Smith apples, but Drew muscle tested it for me and it did not test well, when should I bring it back? Because I really want to make sure someday I can have these Granny Smiths. I would say in 120 days. That's when we should check it again. And if it doesn't test well there, I'll see you in another 120 days. Because I want to make sure we turn over the red blood cells, get some new memory going. It's not about all your problems are fixed in 120 days. It's getting the blood cells to say, we have problems that we're working on. We're trending in the right direction. That's what I want. To answer your question? It's a good question. Other questions bubbling up. I love having butts in seats. Like the Zoom people are really great to have. And the people watching after the fact, it's different when it's like in the room. Yeah. So thank you. Yeah.
So can you just make an appointment just to have all your organs muscle tested?
Yeah. It's just a standard consult. And I'll do what's called a body scan. I'll just go head to toes. And something off, some piece out of place that we need to put back in.
Don't you sort of do that every time? I mean,
Yeah, for most people, there's a really small group of people that I put them on supplements based on their hair analysis without having ever muscle tested them. And they are trending so well that I refuse to muscle test them because I don't want to mess it up. It's going so well that I know the recipe tastes good. Don't add any seasoning, right? You have all the right flavors in there already. Leave it alone. So those people tend to know people who muscle test. And they're like, why aren't you muscle testing me? I was like, because you're doing so well. I don't want to mess it up.
So I do know when they come in with an issue, then you muscle test.
Absolutely. As soon as you come in and you say problem ABC,
Then you'll muscle
DEF, let's fix it. Yeah, sure.
Could you explain one more time?
Yeah.
Because when I was up there, I was kind of doing the muscle testing. It wasn't really like
You were distracted.
What was happening? Yeah. So with the thing with the belly button, like when you're putting your hand here versus not having it there.
Yeah.
Like what was that all about?
So I want you to think about the hand on the belly button. The nerve endings in the palm of my hand are one kind of magnet, okay? And they extend out from my hand like a cylinder. What they can pick up extends beyond my skin. You've all experienced this, because if you've ever walked up to a hot stove before you touched it, you could feel the heat and you withdrew your hand, okay? That was those nerve endings in the palm of your hand reacting to the environment. That makes sense? Okay. I'm putting that over the nerve endings by your belly button, which are a totally different magnet. And they should not connect. They are not the kind of magnets that click. If you had it when the magnets are in the wrong direction and they avoid. So I am intentionally introducing something that is dysfunctional into the system, into the circuit of muscle testing. Your arm should go down. When I put my hand over your belly button, I am intentionally messing with you. Your
blood or the reaction is going to fix that thing.
Right. It's like, what is happening at the belly button? Never mind the arm. Let's do the belly button thing. So the arm goes down because the body says, skip the arm. I got other things going on.
Okay, so the belly button can feel, I guess, the tension coming off of your hand.
I'm going to say it a little differently, but yes. Your nerve endings in your belly button detect the nerve endings in my hand, and they recognize that they are not compatible. And that's why the arm goes down. Because the body says, something's messing. Something's not compatible in our system now.
And then you're just doing that same thing in other areas?
The other parts are just reducing the blood flow. That belly button thing is it is
kind of mechanism.
Yep. The belly button thing is a nervous system thing. The other parts are I'm reducing blood flow to the area. Really good question. Yeah. Other questions bubbling up. Y'all are so great. Thank you for being here. I think we're gonna have to do this one more this year. Yeah. I think we're gonna end up doing some advanced stuff because you guys had questions. That's what I love, because you ask questions that I never dream of, and they're totally valid. Like, it's good info to disperse. So thank you for being here. I'll keep you in loop about the next one. Yeah.
Thank you.